Your tea, sir.
I'm Batman.
Mr. Wayne, you're not Batman.
I am Batman.
Well, I'm tired of this garbage. I want your soul now.
Come
here! Beg pardon, sir, said our page boy as he opened the door. There's been a gentleman here asking for you, sir. Holmes glanced reproachfully at me. So much for gentleman walks, said he. Has this gentleman gone, then? Oh. Hello there. What am I doing wearing this get-up? This is not me. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Japanese Anime Mania, or JAM. One of my favorite time settings to have a story take place in is Victorian London. A lot of stuff is going on during that time. We have so much discovery, invention, and crazy, just a lot of weird, crazy stuff just pops up from there. Works of fiction such as Sherlock Holmes emerge from there, and that's one of my favorite things to go over, just with all the Sherlock iterations that I constantly had to keep up with. And it even applies to video games in some cases, to where, like, my other favorite game series, Assassin's Creed, is not going to be set in Victorian London. This applies also to anime, to where a lot of creators are just obsessed with the British culture, that they make sure that all of their stuff is set in Victorian London. Today is no exception, as today we will review Black Butler. Let's go. It was a dark and stormy night when suddenly a fire came and destroyed the Phantom Hive household, leaving Ciel an orphan. Years pass, and after years of torture and abuse, he finally makes a contract with an otherworldly being. This being is known as Sebastian Michaelis. Together, they will find out who killed Ciel's parents and get revenge. But there is a price to pay, for Ciel must offer his soul, as every demon thing contract has to do. Yes, I know, it's the generic kind of, you make a contract with the demon, you gotta sell your soul. That's how it always works with these kind of things. And again, putting this story in Victorian London with the occult setting is really good because a lot of occult stuff was going on during that time. There was that fine line of division to where people couldn't decide on what was okay and what was taboo. They just went along with what was in, I suppose you could say. Just jump right into characters because these characters I actually enjoyed. So let's start off with our main character, Ciel. He's young, he's rich, he owns a corporation, he has everything that he could ever want. But again, he wants revenge. That's all he wants. That's all he cares about too. He becomes obsessive over it like Batman. Pretty much. He's also what is known as the Queen's watchdog, to where he will have to go through the seedy underground to find all the villains, and hopefully he can get some clues on who killed his parents, because everyone hated them. Now, I can see why a bunch of cosplayers out there go for Ciel, because, man, he is definitely very, very, very feminine. And the costumes he wears for infiltration is always having him as a girl, and it's funny just to have him like that. Sebastian is, as he simply puts it, he is...
No, sir. You see, I am simply one hell of a butler.
Yeah, exactly like that. And that's all it is, because he is a demon. He is under contract to Ciel to help him find out who murdered his parents, and that is his own deal. They will go through any means necessary to do it as well. Going to murder people, doing all this tasks, and again, infiltrating as a butler is perfectly fine because it works in this setting. Now, I'm going to have to throw these two together because I understand why people like them so much. It's because with Ciel and his feminine looks, and Sebastian and his overly charismatic self, pair them together, and you get kind of a weird, cringy sort of vibe. But again, this kind of works in this situation because Sebastian only wants Ciel's soul, so he'll do whatever it takes to get it. And it becomes a kind of manipulative relationship that they have. But again, I love how it works, not in a weird sense, but it just like works perfectly for each other. Yes, we have the other servants in the household. We have Mayrin, the klutzy maid. We have Baldroy, the American chef who burns everything. And Finian, pretty much the Hulk. Again, I like that about them. You also have the other head butler, Tanaka, which Tanaka, whenever you see him, you always laugh because you don't think anything crazy is going to happen with him. That's about it. Animation and sound-wise, I love the animation in this show just because it perfectly captures all of the architecture of Victorian London. They go out of their way to do the research and make sure that everything is correctly as shown. It's cut, clean, crisp, and there's no edges that are just like, it just doesn't look right here, but everything fits where it should go. Sound-wise, I did enjoy the opening and the ending to a point where I watched both of them over and over. Yes, there are 4 of them, and yes, I have all of it. I have it all downloaded. Same goes for the original soundtrack. I have that downloaded as well because it's really cool to listen to. It has that mixture of cowboy bebop jazz, but also Victorian London ballroom waltz. Combine those together, and again, it really works. So, for the final verdict, I would have to give this show a buy it rating. Just because what it does really well. It's 24 episodes long, so it doesn't necessarily drag it out too long like a bunch of these shows, but it has everything into a nice, clean, concise story. Granted, there is a branch from the main story from the manga at about the halfway point, about episode 12, episode 13. But with that in mind, it still works because it manages to draw pieces and bits from the manga into the final part of the series. So it still works on its own. Think of it like the original FMA. Because the original FMA, yes, it branched off, but it still made good do with its original story. Black Butler does the same. Black Butler is licensed by Funimation and is streamable on their website. For alternate recommendations, I would have to say Hellsing. Hellsing is pretty much the same idea. We're kind of set in an old setting, not necessarily Victorian London, but in that turn of the century kind of deal, to where we have a contract with a demon or monster, in some, if you will, with the contract between Ciel and Sebastian. And in Hellsing, we have the contract between Alucard, the vampire, killing all the other vampires. And again, that really works. It keeps up the violence, keeps up the pace, and it's all good. Hellsing is licensed by Funimation as well, and is also, I believe, viewable on their website. If not, it will be on kissanime.com, so go ahead and check that out. For an alternate recommendation, I would have to say The Gray Man. We're going to go back to Victorian London because everything about it really, really works. And that's what I like about Victorian London. Because, again, a lot of animators are obsessed with the culture, and so they go out of their way to research it very thoroughly. And they do a very good job about it. The Gray Man is set in Victorian London. We have demons roaming around the street, and we have exorcists going out to kill them. So if you're a fan of Blue Exorcist and Soul Eater and Black Butler, then combine those 3 together and you kind of get what would The Gray Man be. The Gray Man is licensed by Funimation and is also viewable on their website. Again, if not on there, go to kissanime.com. That's it for today, and have a good one. Wow, I sure hope there isn't another one. What is that? No! No! No!